All right, welcome into Here's the Thing. Getting on a little late this week, but you know what? Late is better than never. Welcome in. Thanks for stopping by. Loaded show for you today. I am riding solo today, no co-host. So what happens when you get up at 3:30 every day. Just poor show planning on my part, but hey, we'll get through this next hour of great sports talk because we got a loaded show to talk about today. We got the World Series is off and running, the NBA season's underway, and I don't know. I think the Lakers are watching the Connor and Khabib fight before every game. Also, we got to talk about the wild ending ODU football had over the weekend. I know it's 4 days old, but honestly, folks, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in sports in a very, very, very long time. Okay. Also, yeah, we're near the trade deadline of the NFL season. Cowboys are making moves that are kind of head scratching. So a couple franchise quarterbacks could be on their way to new teams, so a lot to get to. But I am going to start with the World Series because, you know, it's the World Series. Wednesday night, the Red Sox took a 2-0 lead, beating the Dodgers 4-2. And here's what I want to kind of get into about the World Series. I'm getting okay. All right. Here's something I want to get into about the World Series. It's analytics going on in baseball right now. Analytics can win you a lot of games. I mean, you look at teams like the Astros. I mean, it wins them over 100 games in, the last two seasons. A lot of people are praising LA's manager Dave Roberts for using all right-handed batters, against the two left-handed pitchers they went up against, and Chris Sale and David Price. But they're losing. They're down 2-0 in this series right now. While the matchups do look favorable, the Dodgers are down 2-0, and yes, the series is far, far from over. You can ask Indians fans out there how, what happens when you take a 3-1 lead in the World Series. But they're taking out some of their best bats in their lineup to do so. I mean, I get about analytics and playing small ball and getting guys on base and all that, but this is October, man. This is October baseball. It's played completely different way. I mean, look at Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is the NLCS MVP, one of your hottest bats in your lineup, and he hasn't played the first two games of the World Series because he's a left-handed batter. That's just ridiculous to me. Also, you got Max Muncy, who's one of the best in the league about getting on base in general. And you're playing percentages here. And isn't that what it's all about, is getting on base, scoring runs, getting the guy over? I mean, you take him, you take those two, you take Jock Peterson, and then you take Yasiel Grandal. All their big home run hitters are out of the lineup. And the Sox are taking advantage of it. That's just unreal. You got to play your best guys. It's October. I mean, these are kind of decisions that get you fired in sports. Okay, you're taking one of your best bats out of the lineup in October. You're going to a place like Fenway, which I know it's been cold up there, but the atmosphere has been insane. To imagine having a ticket to those games. And right now, you look at the Red Sox, and not only do they look like the better team, they look like one of the best teams of all time. I mean, for what they got out of J.D. Martinez and David Price in Game 3, paying those two for a combined over $300 million, I mean, they got their money's worth out of those two. And I know a lot of you Red Sox fans that are out there are not too keen on David Price. I know a couple personal friends of mine that are not big David Price fans. But like Ken Griffey Jr. has been saying, man, been saying in the ads for the postseason, let the kids play. And that's what Boston's doing right now, man. Boston is playing way too well, and they're not letting their emotions get the best of them. I mean, you look at a team like the Dodgers, they've got Showman and Yasiel Puig, and even Manny Machado has become a little bit of a villain in the postseason. One of my former favorite Orioles to watch play, and I did not know this guy had a mean streak in him like that when he was in Baltimore. But you look at their core, you look at guys like Jackie Bradley Jr., you look at Xander Bogaerts, you look at Mookie Betts, and they're just out there playing the game. I mean, even guys like Steve Pearce, another former Oriole, who's going out there and hitting for the cycle in October. I mean, these guys are just having fun, man. The kids are just, and they're not letting their emotions get the best of them. They know how good they are, and they're playing up to the best of their abilities. And it pains me to say it as someone who has a die-hard hatred for the Boston Red Sox. I am a long suffering Orioles fan, and the Red Sox are the team I just despise the most right next to the Yankees. But right now, man, Boston just looks like the better team, and LA, I mean, they're going to get the advantage of going back to the West Coast. I mean, the series is far from over, but Boston looks like just the better team right now, and the two will meet up. The two will meet up for Game 3 on Friday. First pitch on Fox around 8:09. I mean, in the beginning of the series, I was saying Sox in 6. I mean, this could be a sweep. I do think. I mean, LA's probably going to get one more. LA's probably going to get one in LA. I mean, you probably got Clayton Kershaw who's going to hit the mound too for him. We'll see. We'll see how this one plays out. Right now, it's not looking too good for the Dodgers. Before I get into the NFL, I do want to go back and recap a little bit of what I saw at the end of the ODU Western Kentucky game. It is homecoming week around here, around campus, and you can kind of get the buzz going on. There's a lot of fair stuff going on right now around here. A lot of people seem excited for it. And you got Middle Tennessee coming to Foreman Field on Saturday. Good win. And okay, so if a lot of you did not see how this game ended between Western Kentucky and ODU on Saturday, let me stay with me for a second. Let me recap. Let me replay for you for what I saw on Saturday night. All right. So Western Kentucky takes a 34-27 lead over the Monarchs after they score a touchdown with a little over a minute left in the game. Then Blake LaRussa finds Travis Fulgham with about 7 seconds remaining. Then Western takes it back to the middle of the field thanks to a personal foul against ODU. Then Western shorts what would be a game-winning field goal and this was the first one with no time left on the clock. But ODU had 12 men on the field, so a penalty was called. And man, what a blessing of a penalty for against the team right there. Western kicks it again, but shorts it. And who did ODU have in there waiting for the shorted field goal? None other than Isaiah Harper, who took it all the way down to the 15-yard line. And Harper was your Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Week. But Western commits a dumb face mask penalty when all they had to do was just push Harper out of bounds. So ODU was given one more untimed down. There was no time left on the clock. And Nick Rice drills the 26-yard game-winning field goal. Unreal ending to that game. I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy endings in sports. I mean, the first one comes to mind is the 2013 Iron Bowl between Bama and Auburn with the kick six. When VCU beat Duke in 2007 with the Eric Maynard dagger. I mean, even if you go back to the 98 finals with Michael Jordan's final shot against the Jazz, there are some crazy ways to end games. And what I saw from Old Dominion on Saturday was just, you have not one, not two, but 3 untimed plays, and you win the football game. Unreal. Just unreal. Hopefully the Monarchs continue to ride the momentum this Saturday with Middle coming into town, maybe get that third win. This is a game that's going to start a 3-game homestand for the Monarchs. Middle's good, but I don't know. You get past them, you get some confidence build up with North Texas coming up. Then you got VMI, Rice to finish off the schedule. Those are 2 winnable games right there. I know VMI, if you do beat VMI, it won't count towards a bowl game, but believe it or not, the team is still alive for one. They are. Sitting at 2-6 right now. I don't think it's going to happen, but crazier things happen in sports, including, what happened on Saturday night. And sticking with ODU, college basketball season's right around the corner, and the Monarchs got some great news. With Deshore Dickens, a Bethel High grad who transferred from Providence, has been cleared to play this season. I mean, anytime you get a 7-footer cleared to play is a good day. I know he only played 3 games for Providence last year because of back injuries, but this is a guy who's a top 150 recruit in the nation. And this is going to add some great size to the Monarchs front court. And remember, this team won 25 games last year. And they were 1 win away from the NCAA tournament. You got Ahmad Caver and BJ Stiff back. They're going to be the focal points. Could be a good up-tempo team to watch this season here at the TED. They'll host Wesleyan November 1st for an exhibition, and then Navy comes to town on the 6th. And we'll talk some more college hoops coming up as the season rolls on, because I am a college hoops junkie, and we're going to have a lot of fun this season with it. And actually, I'll be on the call for a couple games this year for WODU. I got that confirmed the other day as well. So I'm really looking forward to being part of the family here and getting to call some Monarch basketball. Okay. And man, how this show goes when you don't have a co-host. I need Jeff here right now. Jeff, if you're listening right now, please come out, man. I am dying here, dude. All right, let's talk a little bit NFL before we get into some picks. Trade deadline right around the corner. We saw some news with the Cowboys moving for Amari Cooper for a first rounder. Not a terrible move. I know a lot of people are thinking first rounder Amari Cooper. Probably could have gotten him for a second, a third, maybe even a fourth rounder. Look, the Cowboys were probably going to use that first rounder on a wideout anyways. Dak has no one to throw the ball to right now. I mean, Cole Beasley is trying his best out there. And if you look around the college landscape and you look at the upcoming draft, I mean, a lot of analysts and a lot of experts are saying this is going to be more of a defensive lineman, offensive lineman. This is where you're going to go get your meat and potatoes that you put in the cupboard of this NFL draft. You're not going to find a lot of skill guys in this draft. So the Cowboys took a chance on a first rounder that they were probably going to try to use anyways. And I mean, they're getting aggressive. You gotta kind of like the moves. I mean, they did lose to Washington the other day, but the way that division is right now, no one is out of that race. I mean, except the Giants. And that's a whole nother story, a whole nother show. I mean, even the Eagles, they're not having the season they thought they were going to, but they're still nowhere done from that division race. And that will lead me into Washington. I mean, good win against Dallas. Hard-fought win. It's always good to beat the rival, especially when the rival's in town. And Redskins fans, this is what you're going to get with Alex Smith. I mean, this is what you knew going into it. You knew you were going to get a lot of short yardage plays, a lot of screen plays. I mean, he looked bad. He did not look good. I mean, I know he's got some weapons that are hurt right now. I know Paul Richardson's not healthy. Jamison Crowder being out too. And I don't know. You Redskins fans out there, are you ready to call Doxson a bust? Because I'm just not seeing the first round potential from this guy. And this is somebody who, a Ravens fan, who put up with Rashad Perryman for so long, watching him drop balls all day. But good win. Very good win against Dallas. There's not much more you can say about that. That defense is keeping them in games. That Alabama wall with Payne and Allen, and you got I call him Leonidas. I don't know. We'll call him the Greek defensive line freak because the way he blew up Zeke on plays too was. I mean, there's not much more you can say about the defensive line. I mean, guys like Preston Smith and Mason Foster. I mean, DJ Swearinger too is slowly becoming the heart and soul of that defense. I mean, he's the emotional leader. He's the locker room leader. He's getting these guys pumped up. He's getting picks. I mean, and the Redskins, they're winning football games in ways you don't really see it anymore. They're winning with running the ball and defense. I know a lot more of the NFL these days is air the football out, and when you're done, air the football out more. Adrian Peterson has been a godsend for this team. A 33-year-old who looks like he's going to run for over 1,000 yards this year. I mean, you think 1,000 yards is not that much for a back like Peterson, who's had over 2,000 in his career in a season once. This guy's 33 years old, and he is playing with a hurt shoulder, a hurt knee, a hurt ankle. I mean, you name something on the guy. He says he's not hurt, but come on, he's 30. I am older than Adrian. I'm a little older than Adrian Peterson, and when I walk up 2 flights of stairs, my knees crack all the time. So I can only imagine the pain that guy's feeling. But I mean, what a pickup he's been. He's been keeping that offense in games, and Bibbs had a good showing with Chris Thompson out, and it looks like Thompson may be out another week too. So we'll see with the Skins. You're going into New York. You're playing a wounded animal in the Giants. Which, I mean, always division games, you want to throw the records out, but man, the Giants just look terrible. And they're already starting to sell off. They're starting to do their best John Gruden and sell off the team. And you don't, I mean, Eli Manning may not be the quarterback of this team much longer. I mean, the Redskins could be preparing for Eli Manning, but midway through that game, they could be seeing Kyle Lauletta, the Richmond guy. I mean, it's just amazing how bad the Giants are. I mean, and you're going up against Barkley. But have you seen the numbers opposing backs are putting up against the Redskins? It does not look good for fantasy. If you got Barkley this week, you may want to bench this guy. I mean, Alvin Kamara, 46 yards, 30 yards for Mark Ingram. Just opposing backs, they haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. I don't think they've allowed a guy like much over 50 yards this season. So it's going to be an interesting one. The Josh Norman, Odell Beckham matchup is always a fun one to watch too. So, and for the Redskins, you get this win here. I mean, you're starting to enter a favorable part of your schedule. And then you get this win here, you solidify your place in this division. I mean, if you were a Redskins fan at the beginning of the season, and I told you guys were going to be 4-2 at this point, you probably would have taken it. I mean, you're going to New York to play the Giants, division game, and then after that, you got the Falcons, and you got the Falcons at home. And the Falcons are looking a little bit better, but they're not a good team. I mean, the Falcons are a team that had Super Bowl aspirations at the beginning. I don't think that's going to happen. Their defense looks terrible. I mean, their offense is still putting up numbers, and they had a very good win against the Giants. But then after that, you got the Bucs. The Bucs are bad. And then you got the Texans. The Texans are leading the AFC South, but the AFC South is probably the worst division in all of football. I mean, you may have a 7-9 winner win that division this year, and that might be the Texans. And then after that, you got the Cowboys again around Thanksgiving. That might be a little bit more interesting with Amari Cooper there. And this one's in Dallas. And then after that, you got the Eagles, the Giants again. I mean, the Jags. God, the Jags are just I don't know what's going on with Jacksonville. They were honestly my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year. I picked Jacksonville, New Orleans. I wish I could go back and do a redo on that one because I don't know what's happened with Jacksonville, and I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I mean, they played Cody Kessler on Sunday. Cody Kessler, former Browns quarterback, Cody Kessler. So we'll see there. And then the Titans, and then you got the Eagles again. I mean, the only couple matchups I'm looking to see on this Redskins schedule, I mean, the Eagles twice, and then the Cowboys, and then maybe Jacksonville if they have their stuff together by then. I mean, you're talking about a Redskins team that may be a year ahead of schedule. If they were on a schedule. I mean, the beginning of this year, it's a good roster, and it's a team that looked like was going to make the playoffs this year. Or maybe miss out in the playoffs, maybe like an 8-8 team and start to build towards the playoffs. And once you got Darius Geis back, who knows? And then next year was going to be, hopefully we could get the 12-win year, win the division, and get to the playoffs. The 12-win year might be this year because of that schedule for the Redskins. So, like I said, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Washington moving forward. I mean, they play with a lot of emotion. They talk a lot, and the team is always filled with some kind of drama. But we'll see. I mean, if you're a Redskins fan, I would feel very confident right now with where your football team is, especially where that defense is right now too. So we will see. So let's go ahead and get into some picks for what was it? God, is it week 8? Are we already at week 8? Man, this season is just flying by. We'll start with Thursday night football tonight. We got Miami and Houston. Houston's getting 7.5 in this game. I'm going to pick the Dolphins in the upset in this one. I know Miami's playing Brock Osweiler tonight. Houston's not a team you can really figure out. This is a team that had a lot of hope and promise in the beginning because of Deshaun Watson, him having a healthy year, and he has not looked good. And like I said, Houston is playing in the worst division in football, and they got the advantage of that right now. So I'll go Miami in the upset here. Philadelphia and Jacksonville. This one could be interesting. Philly's a 2.5 favorite going into the Jaguars. Oh, actually, I believe this is the London game. That's right. Oh yeah, Jacksonville's annual London game, the London Jaguars. Probably go Philly in this one, and actually, I think I'll go against the spread on that one. I think Philly probably wins by a touchdown. I mean, Jacksonville, man, what has happened to you guys? I mean, Blake Bortles, we knew. Man, when he's good, and when he's bad, he's Blake Bortles bad. Those two costly fumbles, and we could see Cody Kessler. We could see them trading for a quarterback. We could see Derek Carr or possibly Eli Manning as the next Jags quarterback. So that would be very interesting to see here. I'm getting a look through the window that's not too comfortable. All right. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, 7.5 to Pittsburgh. Cleveland, the Baker time. Baker time, I think, is still there. Still a big fan of Baker Mayfield. They played each other to a tie the first time these two teams met. I'll go Pittsburgh in this one, and I think Pittsburgh will cover in this one. Denver and Kansas City. Kansas City 10.5. Yeah, gotta go the Chiefs, man. That offense, good lord, this offense may make history. I mean, there's not much more you can say about Patrick Mahomes. And everyone's talking Tariq Hill too. Man, Kareem Hunt, the kid has just got skills, man. But this whole offense, I mean, Andy, we all knew Andy Reid was an offensive genius, but this is what he's doing right now in Kansas City is just ridiculous. If their defense could get anything resembled to a respectable defense, I mean, this team could go to the Super Bowl. So even though it's a division game, I'll go KC 10.5. I think I'll go against. No, I think they beat the spread on this one. Actually, I think I'll hit the over on this one. All right, Jets and Bears. Bears 7.5 favorite. Man, the Bears had a close one against the Pats, and the Bears look like they're the real deal. I mean, everyone in the NFC North was talking Vikings, Packers because of Aaron Rodgers and he's healthy. Dude, the Bears look like the cream of that division right now. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, man, the kid can run. The team's got all kinds of talent on defense. I'm going to pick Chicago in this one. I mean, I don't know much to say about the Jets outside of Sam Darnold, who's like starting to come back to earth a little bit, who's starting to look like a rookie quarterback. 7 to the Bears. You know what? I think the Jets will keep this a little bit closer. So yeah, I won't take the points on this one. Okay, and then Washington and New York. It's a pick 'em. Wow, actually, the first time I saw this line, Washington was a 1.5 favorite. But the Giants are 1-6, so this is like no respect to the Redskins at all. So if I were you, I would take this game all day. I'd take Washington in this one all day. Seattle, Detroit, 3.5 to Detroit. These are two teams that really need to start getting on the winning side of things if they want to make the playoffs. And these teams are kind of playoff contenders right now. I'm surprised this game's not a pick 'em, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go with Seattle this one. I mean, anytime you put Russell Wilson in a game, Seahawks always have a chance as long as Russ is there. All right, Tampa and Cincinnati, 6.5 to Cincinnati. I'll take that all day. Tampa's a mess. Pick 'em between Baltimore and Carolina. In Carolina, I'll go Baltimore. They had a real emotional game against the Saints. Offense came to play, defense came to play, but man, Justin Tucker, boy, has never missed it. He hasn't missed an extra point since he was 16 years old. And what does he do? He shanks one at the end of that game to send it to overtime. So they'll be coming off an emotional high, and Carolina's not a good team. They're not. I mean, they're a decent team, but they got an elite quarterback. So that's who's keeping them in there. Let me see who else we got here. Just some of these games I just don't care about. Yeah, Indianapolis, Oakland. I'm not picking that game. I could care, and it's a pick 'em too. I could care less about those two. San Francisco, Arizona, also. Green Bay and LA should be interesting. LA 10.5. Yeah, I'll go the Rams on that one. Over under is like close to 60, so they're expecting somewhat of a shootout. And the last time the Rams were involved in an over under that was around 60, the game hit 80 freaking points. Minnesota, New Orleans. Ooh, a little rematch of the Miracle in Minnesota. 1.5 to the Vikings. The Saints are a good team this year. I'm going Saints in that one. Actually, I think they'll beat them by a touchdown or two. And then Buffalo and New England. Oh, God. New England minus 14. Who cares about the Bills are another terrible team. Yeah, give me New England in that one all day and to cover. And actually, I'll take that into let's do top 5, bottom 5 of NFL teams. And this one I'm just kind of improvising right now until my laptop dies because it's about to die. So once that dies, this show is going to go off the rails. Obviously, your bottom 5 teams in no particular order, you got to go with the Raiders. Good God, man. I mean, they may have their equipment managers playing for them at some point. It's a fire sale and everything must go in Oakland. Gruden is definitely making a show that this is his team and that he wants to reshape this team for when they go to Vegas. And then you got to go Arizona. Josh Rosen, you got to get him some help on that offensive line. Patrick Peterson wants out. I would trade him, and I would trade him and go get a left tackle. Josh Rosen has showed some injuries when he was at UCLA, and you want him to be the future of your football team. You got to keep him healthy. And Peterson's one of the best corners in the league, and he wants to play for a contender. Let the guy go play, and you go get a left tackle that you can shape your franchise around. Will protect your franchise quarterback. Okay, let's go. I'll go Buffalo next. I mean, what more can you say about the Bills? I mean, they've played 3 quarterbacks this season. They've played a rookie. They've played Nathan Peterman, who I think just threw another interception. And then Derek Anderson. Enough said about the Bills. Who else we got here? Bad football teams. I guess we go with the 49ers. 49ers are pretty bad this year. A lot of hope on the Jimmy G train. And he's out for the year. Looks like another tank year for them. Try to stock up some picks. I think they're about to start trading guys as well. And then to round out the last of the bottom 5, we'll go Indianapolis, maybe Cleveland. We'll tie them up for bottom 5. Indy, I know like Andrew Luck is having like a career year, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year. And they're building. Indy is starting to certainly build for something. They finally got that offensive line that they've drafted first round picks for starting to gel together. But Ty Hilton can only bail you out of so many games, and they got to get a running game. They got to get a running game going, and their defense looks like it's going to need some help too. I mean, they had some aging problems in the past, so yeah, we'll go Indy to round out the bottom 5. Okay, top 5. Obviously, top 5. We got to start. I'll start with San Diego. San Diego's really starting to come on this year. They're a team that typically starts slow. They kind of had a really slow start last year. I think they started the year like 0-4. This year they didn't have the best start, but they're a team that's really starting to gel together. And I believe they're getting Joey Bosa back. That's a big help. That's a big addition to that defense. And and Phillip Rivers, man, what more can you say? The guy just can air out the football. He's having another career year there. So we'll go San Diego. And these are no particular order. Well, except I guess for the top 2, whatever. Let's see. Next let me go with Pittsburgh. I'll go with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh I know they're 3-2-1 this year. But I mean, still no Le'Veon Bell sighting, but if Bell does come back, I mean, Pittsburgh, even the way James Conner's playing right now, the team has got a lot of drama, but they're still a good football team. I mean, as long as you got Big Ben there and you still got Juju and you got Antonio Brown, the defense is starting to come together a little bit. I think Pittsburgh is still a team you kind of want to watch out for. Then we'll go Kansas City. Actually, I'll go New England first, even though New England beat. I don't know. Whatever. We'll go New England. I mean, what more can you say about the Pats? I mean, Brady's finally got his favorite weapons back. And Julian Edelman, Gronk. I know Gronk is hurt, but this team plays well when Gronk is out. And it's amazing the wins this team pulls off when Gronk is out. James White has been like a revelation for these guys. I mean, they were going in this season with Rex Burkhead as their starting running back. And James White has he's the guy who's going to catch passes for you out of the backfield. Sony Michel hurt right now with Sonny Michael. I've heard his last name pronounced 5 different times. So he'll pick up the slack for you. And then next year, you got to go Kansas City. I mean, what more can you say about that offense? Just record. I mean, this is an offense that could be setting records here by the end of the season. Patrick Mahomes, I've said it once before, and I've said it twice before, and I'll say it again. You stop the season right now, he's the MVP of the league. And then number 1, you got to go to the Rams. I mean, this is a team that not easily, but this is a team that could probably go 16-0. I mean, even with some of their best defensive talent out right now, with guys like Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, their defense is still rolling on people. And that offense, I mean, Jared Goff, here's a guy that no one gave a chance to, that no one thought was going to be an NFL quarterback, and he is now. So, yeah, I'll take the Rams as the top team in my top 5, bottom 5. All right, we are halfway through the show here, and I just lost all my notes because my laptop just died. So great. So I'm gonna take a break for a second, get this laptop charged up, and we'll be right back. Yeah. Great. You want to step in for the last half hour? Oh man, I'm dying here because my laptop just died. Oh god, that sucks, man. That sounds terrible. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I guess I forgot to bring my charger. Yeah, sorry, man. I'll get through the last 20 with my cell phone. Oh, women. It's not on right now. Oh, thanks. Dude. Yeah, I got it after the cup run.
So, let me get by you real quick. Okay, your mic on, by the way.
Oh, All right, sorry, folks. After some technical difficulties, we are back on the air. I'm probably going to end the show a little bit early today, but there are a couple things I do want to get to because actually we did have some little bit of breaking news for you hockey fans out there. All right. Also for you Capitals fans out there, and I am wearing my Stanley Cup champion jersey right now, my koozie jersey. News coming down that Tom Wilson's appeal for his 20-game suspension appeal has been heard by Gary Bettman and has been turned down. So Tom will have to serve. I mean, next step is that it could go to a arbitrator, but it looks like Tom is going to have to serve this entire 20-game suspension, and he's losing a lot of money doing so. I mean, he signed a nice, healthy contract extension after the Cup run, and I believe he's losing out almost $2 million with this 20-game suspension. As a Capitals fan, as a passionate, diehard Capitals fan, I do have to say it sucks. It really does. Tommy is an emotional guy, and he's an emotional leader of the team. They put him on the top line for a reason, to play with Kuzi. I mean, to play with Backstrom, to play with Ovi. But as a hockey fan, it's probably the right thing to do, because Tom, he gets away with some dirty stuff. And he's getting the kind of connotation that he's a dirty player and he's a headhunter. And he's got to calm down with that. He's really got to calm down with the way he plays, because next time it could be 40 games. And then after that, it could be an entire year. And these guys, Oshie and Ovi and Brooksy and all the other guys of the locker room, they need to pull Tom aside and say, look, man, we need you more on the ice than in the press box wearing a suit. You got to change the way you play a little bit. And the Caps, I mean, the Caps have been playing well without him. I mean, Ovi's got 8 goals in 8 games, which has been a lot of fun to see. I mean, Oshie's scoring. I mean, this team is scoring a lot of goals right now. But Tom Wilson just adds that grit factor to you. You know, he adds that, like, hey, we got a pit bull on the line. Don't mess with our guys. And I mean, we've even seen some of the guys pick up that attitude well. I mean, I've seen Oshie involved in a fight this year, Lars Eller getting into it with Brad Marchand, and I could go all day about how much of a prick Brad Marchand is. But we won't get into that because I will probably get banned from the FCC. But I mean, the team is playing well without him right now. But do we need Tom Wilson back? Yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite players to watch. So yeah, the news coming down that 20-game suspension will be upheld. Sticking with DC sports, let's talk about DC United for a second. I mean, here's a team that was dead in the water in the MLS, like last place in the Eastern Conference. A team that looked like they had no hope. They weren't going anywhere. They were going to fire Ben Olsen. They were going to redo the team. And then one Wayne Rooney comes to town. And I was I'm gonna admit, I was very skeptical at first about Wayne Rooney. I was like, all right, they need to put butts in the new stadium. They need to sell tickets. They need to sell jerseys. There's not a lot of excitement around this team. They're in last place. But Rooney, and I was like, okay, Wayne Rooney, I mean, he was towards the latter half of his career. He's not the Wayne Rooney who was a legend at Manchester United. But this Wayne Rooney is becoming a legend at another United, and that's DC United. I mean, what a spark he has become for that team. I mean, he's almost single-handedly taking them from last place to a spot in the MLS playoffs, and not only a spot in the MLS playoffs, but there's a lot of pundits out there that think they could possibly win the Eastern Conference, the role that they're on right now. So it's been a lot of fun to see. It's been a lot of excitement. I mean, that play that he made, I think it was his first or second game, where he just chases the guy down midfield, puts in the slide, grabs the ball in his third game, grabs the ball, brings it down the field, crosses into the box for the game-winning goal. I mean, that in like the 90th minute. I mean, right then and there, you knew this wasn't a Wayne Rooney who came to the MLS to collect paychecks. This is a Wayne Rooney who came to the MLS to win and to prove to the people and prove to the world that he's still got it. And you hear stories that, I mean, we've all heard the legendary stories of Wayne Rooney at Manchester United, and just, you know, not being the nicest guy in the world. But you're hearing the opposite here in DC. I mean, he's had the opportunity to fly to games on private jets by himself. He's turned it down, flown with the team. He's had chances to stay in separate hotels, turned it down. He's staying with the team. I mean, he's helped because DC United has a young core of good players. And the more they're around Wayne Rooney, the more confident they're going to be. And I think Wayne knows that too. So we'll see going into the MLS playoffs if DC United can do it. I mean, a lot of people are forgetting DC United was the original. I mean, they were the original Bulls, the original Patriots in the MLS, whatever, the original Red Wings. For if you want sports comparisons out there for a lot of people who don't watch the MLS, this is a team that won 4 titles in like the first 5 or 6 years of the league. So this is no chump franchise here. This is a team that knows how to win, and they want to win again, and they got a new stadium, and they have probably one of the more. And I know a lot of the guys. They have probably one of the more passionate fan bases in all the MLS. I mean, outside of teams like Seattle and Portland, but they were the original Seattle and Portland fan bases. I mean, these are diehard guys that would come from Richmond. They would come up from Charlotte. They would come down from New York. They would Pennsylvania, and they would all descend on RFK Stadium. And RFK was a dump, but it was their dump, and they made it their dump, and they made it into one of the more fun atmospheres in the MLS, where you probably had to get a tetanus shot after the game as well too. So, I mean, hats off to you passionate DC United fans. I know a lot of you guys. I know a lot of the RVA DCU guys. That they sacrifice their weekends, their family time. They make it their family time. They bring their family up there. They bring their wives. They bring their kids. And they have a good time up there. And a lot of them have been waiting for the team to look this good again. And hats off to Wayne Rooney for doing that, man. We'll see what happens in MLS playoffs. I'll certainly be rooting for DC United. So we'll see there. Where else do we want to go today? I guess we could talk a little bit NBA. I haven't really gotten to the NBA. We are off and running about 5 games in. Lakers finally got a win. They're probably one of the more 1-4 interesting teams in the league right now. Houston, we'll see what's up with Houston. I mean, that whole fracas between Houston and I just love how non-tough guys in the NBA try to be tough guys. I mean, Rondo, I know, has always played with an edge, but Chris Paul, I've never really known to be a tough guy. And it's fun to watch tough guy fakeness. And the suspension's coming down. And actually, it could be a blessing for the Lakers because they played really well last night with Lonzo at point and not Rondo. Lonzo's looking like he finally found a shot. So we'll see with the Lakers. I mean, Kobe said if we go 0-5, I may have to come back. I guess we're not going to have to see Kobe anymore, which is one of my favorite players to watch of all time. Houston, good Lord, man, they got to get their stuff together. That's a team that could have rivaled Golden State in the Western Conference. We'll see. Golden State clicking along. And how about the young teams? I mean, how about Utah putting up a fight? And you got Denver putting up a fight. You got these younger teams. Boston right now. Boston's clicking. I do believe they lost to the Magic the other night, but they're clicking right now. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen with Kyrie. I mean, it's funny with the NBA. We're 5 games into the season, and I'm already hearing all the NBA pundits talk about what's going to happen after this year with Kevin Durant, with Kyrie Irving, with Klay Thompson, blah blah blah. Can we get through the first 5 games? Can we get to the All-Star break at least? Or can we get to the trade deadline before you start talking about where these guys are going to go and where they're going to finish their seasons and all this other stuff? I mean, good Lord, man. Let me watch some hoops. We haven't even started the college basketball season yet. In the NBA, they're already talking about. I know it's one of the more fun off seasons in all sports because it usually has more going on in it, and there's free agent signings and there's trades galore. But man, come on, let me get at least 10 games in before you start talking about where Kyrie's going to go and all this other mess and all this other jazz. What are some of the top headlines today? I know it's looking like a mess in the college basketball world right now. We got 3 guys that are possibly going to prison for paying recruits, 3 former Adidas executives. That's going to get messy. And I always go back, and then I haven't read too much about the story, but I heard a little bit about it today on the Dan Patrick Show, them talking about the intern, one of the top recruits in the nation who's going to intern for LeBron James's company, make a $200,000 salary, and just train for the draft. Folks, this is what happens with the one and done rule. And this is why the one and done rule has to go. I have been a big opponent of the one and done rule. I do not like it, but you know, who am I to say? I hosted a college radio show on WODU, so who am I to say whether I'm a big opponent of the one and done rule? I think it's a joke. Does it make college basketball a little more exciting? Yeah, it does, because it's great to see guys like we're going to see Zion Williamson this year, like seeing guys like Anthony Davis in the past, seeing guys like Trae Young, seeing these guys get a shot in college and see what they can do in March. But to preserve the sanctity of amateur basketball and basketball period, get rid of the one and done rule. I see the G League is going to start doing something where it's modeled after what LeVar Ball tried to do with his league, where they're going to offer high recruits a salary to play in the G League. Get rid of the one and done rule. If these guys are top recruits and you think they're top players and you think they can play in the NBA one day, let them play in the NBA. I mean, when you're 18, you can go die for this country. You can serve in the military. That's a horrible comparison. But let these guys make their own decision and let them go play in the NBA. And then college, NCAA, you got to rally around this too. These guys, if you elect to go to college, stay for at least 2 or 3 years. Or you got to stay for at least 2 years, and then you can make the jump to the pros if you decide to go to college. But let these, like, there's no reason Zion Williamson should be playing in the NBA this year. There's no reason Kyrie Irving should have played in the NBA the year he did, even though he played for 6 games. Anthony Davis, Nerlens Noel. I mean, I could go on about Kentucky guys. But there's a reason, like, a lot of these guys stay for 1 year and then they're gone. And then I know they like to flirt around. The guys like Josh Jackson, I like to flirt around a little bit. Oh, yeah, I'm going to stay. No, just go. Just let them go pro. All right, I'm going to end the show early today because I am spent on topics and I did zero show prep today, which is kind of my fault. So thanks for tuning in today. If you did, sorry, we'll get the show back on the tracks next week. Like I said, we got a lot of college basketball coming up to talk about. Season for ODU should be starting here soon. We'll recap the week in the NFL. I'm hoping to talk some fantasy. I got a fantasy guest that might be coming on next week, so hopefully we'll talk some fantasy, because I know we're starting to get towards the trade deadline and that, and we're starting to get towards where you need to know what direction your fantasy team's going in with the fantasy playoffs and whatnot. So, yeah, sorry to cut the show early today, folks. We'll make sure it's better for you next week. So, thanks for tuning in. Peace and love. I'm out.